We live now. Anybody ever told you that you'll sit down air stink?
No. Never. But they told you. What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Shannon.
Error. This is your man, Terance J.
And this is
The Last Podcast.
Why is this? Here, you can have your outdoor. It's an inside joke. Why is this the last podcast, bad boy?
Because depending on what we say or what we do,
or what he looks
quite
like,
possibly be
the last podcast.
So, thank you guys for hanging out with us, man.
Yes.
We glad to be back here in front of you guys another week. We do have sad news for you. Next week we will not be on air. Okay, so we'll have a 2-week hiatus, and then we'll see you guys back here the week after next. All right, so that's why you always get to watch the show, because you never know when it just might be
the last podcast. And seriously,
trust me, there's been a lot of attacks on this show. We had to fight every week to get on here. That's why we gotta be on time. We be trying.
Let me tell you something. The one time he knocked over the camera and broke
Whoa.
it. Keep going.
Yeah, no. Cameras, light, ain't nothing safe around Wibble Wobble over here. Cause I'm gonna
Shout
tell you
out
what.
to Deep Ellum Distillery.
No, we ain't going on. Shout out to Deep Ellum Distillery, man. You guys see the bottles here. I tell you what. So let's do this. And this is going to be a real easy one because we got to start giving these things away. All right. So the first person that can tell us not only what high school we graduated from, what year we graduated. All right. So if you could do that, then you could win.
I almost blurted it out.
Yeah. So you had to pay attention to the show. We've talked about it. So we like to see your guesses in the comment section, in our inbox, and everything else. So, smell toys? You good? Oh, okay. So shout out to you guys. So, and there your chance to win one of these bottles.
Follow us on Facebook on The Last Podcast 1. And follow us on Instagram _
The Last Podcast.
He said something funny before I said something. Somebody said something funny right before we went on, and now we can't get our shit together.
No, we can't. But we still need you to follow us, all right?
Yes.
So Facebook, The Last Podcast 1, and on Instagram is _ The Last Podcast. And what did I say?
Not that, but okay.
The Last Podcast 1 on Facebook and _ The Last Podcast on Instagram.
There you go.
We're usually recording from Instagram also, but today we are not. So we'll be back on Instagram on our following show. So shout out to everybody that's catching up with us now on Facebook. And we got to give you our disclaimer.
Our disclaimer is we will still be friends after the show, no matter what is said, no matter what is done,
no matter what she looks like.
I know y'all see me sit in here every week after week with Harambe, and I'm still here.
I know it's hard.
Through the grace of God.
She has a face for the radio, okay?
And you have a face for silence.
And you have a body built by a buffet.
You are the buffet. Bertha?
Yeah, all right. So with
Where's your hairnet?
Along with your ankles. And them shoes.
My strap's still.
Yeah, your strap's still on your feet. So
what were we saying? Oh, the unofficial disclaimer.
Yeah.
We will still be friends after. No,
that's the original. If fat shaming bothers you, if any shaming bothers you,
if you are easily offended by anything,
this is probably not the show for you.
Not the show for you.
Yeah, because they keep coming pretty regularly, and so we'll need y'all in the inbox. Like, why did you say that to her? Well, one, because it's true. But other than that, listen, y'all know what it is. You guys watch the show each and every week, so we're gonna tell you this, and we say this every week. If you are easily offended, we always say to log off, but don't log off. Make sure that you continue to watch it, but most importantly,
share.
All right? So we need you to share. So right now, we need to have these shares right now going. So share, like, make sure you comment. The comment section needs to be jumping like it usually is. We look forward to those each and every week, so we do appreciate you guys doing that. So let's get into our show.
All right. Welcome to the last podcast. My name is Shannon. This is Terance, and we're going to host this podcast for you tonight.
Hey, listen, if that wasn't professional, I don't know what the hell was. You know what? Yeah, like you do this every week.
Almost. Sometimes.
That's what I do.
I mean, I did until I got COVID. So anyway.
But you're here.
Yeah, by the grace of God.
That's all that matters. You're here. We tied for life.
Ugh.
Well, one of us was, but we here, okay? That's all that matters.
Okay. So let's get into the weekly rundown.
Yes.
Well, what is the weekly rundown? Explaining to the people who's been living under a rock and who has not watched the last podcast.
Yeah, well, shame on you if you have not watched the last podcast. But the weekly rundown is everything that has happened between the last time we had a chance to see you to now. We try to give you our spin on the things we've seen in the news. Sometimes we pick, a few things. Sometimes we focus in on one. But it's just giving us Shannon and Terance twist on it. And if you guys know us, you know that we have our opinion on damn near everything. Okay?
Yeah.
So we pick out a few things we want to talk about. And this week, we got a couple things that are affecting us, especially right here in Texas.
So the first one we want to talk about is the restrictive Texas abortion bill. And you have an interesting viewpoint on this.
Yeah, but first, before I tell you the viewpoint, there's a rallying cry from women, and it is what about this abortion bill? Men should be making rules on women's bodies. Let women make their own decisions.
The thing. I have a problem because I'm a woman, and I know you built like a woman, but so you should have a problem too.
You should say you a woman very lightly because that is still up for debate. Okay.
Well, you have the memory glands for both of us.
Start.
So, anyways, let's focus.
Are we focused?
Okay.
I call you her or them. Which pronoun you use?
Middle age or older age white man, or any man for that matter, should not have any. If the Texas laws recently have been really iffy, you can carry a gun without a license anywhere.
As of September 1st, we will be able to do that. Yeah.
But a woman can't make a decision with her and her doctor about her own body. Mm-hmm. Men should not be making decisions about women's body. And shame on you to the conservative woman who sit by idly and let this bullshit happen in your own party. It is going to directly affect you and your daughters. You just watch. Democrats ain't the only people, liberals or whatever, libtards, whatever, we are not the only people who have abortions. Here's another thing I want to say about abortion. You say that this is a Christian nation and this is steeped in biblical principles. What if I don't believe in what you believe? So because I don't believe in what you believe, I still have to govern myself according to your beliefs. Doesn't that sound kind of jihadist?
Listen, looking at this,
do you know what jihadist is?
Yeah, I know what jihadist is, but I was gonna let that point resonate. And
okay.
So see, I ain't stepping on your toes. I know your feet swollen from all that sodium. But the thing is
this
that
what happened to your whole body? Squish.
So the thing is that we look at this bill with the abortion, and true, we start saying, okay, so men shouldn't be making decisions on women's body. Right. But I'm here to tell you that even though women will be directly affected by this, mm-hmm. this has nothing to do with women. This bill, when you start talking about abortions, you said Democrats are not the only one having abortions, right? This is not about Republicans or Democrats. This is about white women. They want white women to have babies. The population, for many of us who have watched the news and aware of our surroundings, understand that eventually the white race, or however you want to say it, European descendants or whatever you want to say, will eventually be the majority minority. So what happens is you start looking at the numbers of abortions from white women, particularly. They don't care about Keisha having abortions. They don't care about Maria having abortions. They don't care about other ethnicities having abortions. This is strictly to allow the white race, the white woman, to have babies because they need to keep the population advantage. So when we start looking at this, yes, you guys will be directly affected as women because you can't make, for those who believe in abortions, you guys can't make the decisions for yourself, and they put in all these other rules. You're penalizing the person with the abortion harder than you penalize the person that actually does like a rape or something like that. But I'm telling you, this is about keeping population advantage, which is why you see how fast the Stop Asian Hate bill came into play? Because right now, what you need to do is you need to start to adopt other races into your race to keep your population control. We see it done with Hispanics. Now we're seeing it done with Asians. It's all they will rent out and lease out other races to start to allow and people who are willing as a whole to say, oh yeah, I can identify with you.
Right.
Why? Because nobody wants to identify with us, right? So anytime they come and
not
say,
with us, but our culture.
Our culture, most definitely you want to identify with our culture. But what happened is, it's like, oh yeah, we don't like those black people because let's be real. We know racism to come from every other race, or I should say racist tendencies, because no other race really has the ability to quote unquote instill policies and procedures to shut us down. That's another minority group. But the thing is that it's like we know growing up. You know how many, we talk about the Stop Asian Hate and things like that. Let's understand, we living in a great world now and everything else, but I remember my mama telling me when I went into a store that was an Asian ran store, if they followed me around the store or asked me, can I help you, put down all that shit down and walk out. Because there was a mindset that we were only coming in to steal, right? So, but the thing is that, so as a whole, I'm not saying everybody, but as a whole, there was a lot of racist tendencies toward us from that group.
Asians. But there are a lot of racist tendencies that comes to us from Hispanics also.
Exactly. And you start to watch, you start to say, wait a minute. They're doing everything they can to get them to side with them too.
Because here's the thing. This is what they do. You'll never be where we are, but we'll make sure you'll never be where they are.
Exactly.
And they're like, well, I would, we are striving to get there, but as long as we're not with them niggas,
we good.
We good.
And it's the same trick that they play on the working class, poor white people.
Yep.
And I always say, to all of the white people who can't just leave their job and live off their money for the rest of their life, we have more in common
than what you think.
Than what you think. We all want our kids to have an education. We all want our kids to be in safe areas. We all want them to be access to medical, and we want to be able to get the food that we want. Most of us all work on the same jobs, making the same amount of money.
Right.
The difference is not as far as you think they are, but the powers that be continues to perpetrate that down, and as long as we're always fighting on this level, they can be like
perpetrate or perpetuate. But
y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. Listen for understanding, not for critique.
I do both.
The thing is, they can continue to play puppet master with us from higher levels, and here we are actually living in the same communities, working in the same jobs, and we are such polar opposites. And as long as that fight continues, then things like this will keep happening. But I'm telling you, this whole abortion thing is to continue the population advantage, and the numbers wise, and I
understand that. But here's what's going to happen. Once again, this is going to come around, and it's going because Roe v. Wade was not because black women were dying in disproportionate numbers, compared to white women from botched abortions. Roe v. Wade what happened because they were losing their white women, and it wasn't loose strumpets who were out, gallivanting around, and these were housewives who the husbands went out and worked, and they wanted to go in the workplace, or they were just overwhelmed with already their children, and they would get pregnant and couldn't have an abortion, so they would go to an alley, they would go to abandoned buildings, and these women were dying, or they were if they were not dying, then they were injuring in a very traumatic way to themselves, and that was crippling the white family unit.
Mm-hmm.
So then they were like, okay, well, something has to happen, and of course, white feminism and all that. But this is interesting. This bill, we'll see how this is going to work out.
Let me say, ain't no rules ever really been in place that didn't have the advantage for the people that's making the rules.
Right.
So, and truth be told, if you look at the numbers, and white girls is killing them babies faster than any other race.
Yeah.
So, this is just by the numbers. So this is really put in place to protect their population. Yeah. So,
and I would like for the pro-lifers to stop calling, like, they should not be called pro-life. Just say you are pro, or just say say you're anti-abortion, and that's it. Because pro-life means in utero, post in utero, all the way up until the person dies, because that's called a lifespan. So when the baby is born, you can't protect the baby when it's in utero, and then when the baby comes out, you want to strip away all of the programs that helps the baby thrive and eat and get education and shelter and water and all this other stuff. So you need to figure out which lane you're going to be in. Pick a struggle, okay? With your evil asses. Okay, next.
All right.
Finally, the Democrats got some balls somewhere. Texas Democrats this Sunday.
All in their mouth.
Okay.
I know y'all remember that video.
It's not the time.
It's not
the time.
Listen,
for that.
I was out here Kevin Horse extra man. Listen, that's why we can't have testimony service no more, because that lady right there.
All in my mouth. Okay.
Let's go. Remember to stay in prayer. Let's keep it holy. Sorry, y'all. You got to watch that video. Just look up testimony service and woman giving oral sex.
Okay.
I know. Voting bills. There we go.
Okay, so the Texas Democrats this Sunday walked out of the Texas State House, not Senate House, sorry, in an effort to block the very restrictive voting. Why do you put "Don't mess with Texas women"? It's cute. It's fine. It's cool. It's
did
cool.
we have the wrong one?
No. You like women today.
Well, it was supposed to be.
You built like women.
It was supposed to be a voting thing. So.
Anyway, so Senate Bill 7 is the very restrictive bill that Lil Hot Wheels Abbott, or as MSNBC like to call him, Texas Two-Step, has.
No, that's why this is gonna be the last podcast. The Handicap Association of America is gonna shut
tell you
this
something.
down.
The Handicap Association of America.
Don't do it. You about to step
No, they don't even like Little Hot Wheels, okay? I talked to somebody in a wheelchair. I said, do you like
how many handicap friends you got? You sound like one of the people. I got 2 black friends.
So I can't be racist, okay?
I talked to somebody.
I talked to somebody in a wheelchair. Actually, it was a chair and a wheel was on. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Focus.
No, I'm trying to keep us on air.
So the Democrats walked out in order to
Okay, you focus now.
Okay, the Democrats walked out. And so of course Lil Hot Wheels is upset. So he's like, you know what? Y'all gonna walk out, so I'm gonna take your salaries. And the Democrats is like, boy, fuck it.
That's basically what happened.
That's pretty much what happens. So he's gonna call for a special session.
Mm-hmm.
And what, next year though?
I can't remember the date, but he said he's gonna have him come back, and all the people who don't want to do their responsibilities, he's gonna block funding.
So if you let's tell them about this bill. What's included in this bill? Because before I go into y'all need to get your asses out and vote because Lil Hot Woods has to go. But go ahead.
One of the things that's in this bill is the you cannot vote on Sundays before 1:00. So the reason that is because there's a thing that black churches came up with called Souls to the Polls.
Mm-hmm.
So
I thought that was something else, but
this ain't the paint, okay? You do like Uncle Clifford though. So the thing is,
and you act like Lil Murder.
I do not. Souls to the Polls on Sundays. What would happen is people at church, they would congregate at church because that's
what we do.
That's what we do, and then we would go straight from there and go to vote, right? So they say, listen, let's put it after 1:00 so that they can no longer use that time to go vote. So that's a direct attack on black vote. Drive-through 24-hour voting, which ain't nobody ever told me about that.
I didn't know they had drive-through.
That's new for me.
Voting.
But 24-hour drive-through voting.
That's not something white people do.
That is no longer going to be in play if this bill goes through. Voter ID and identification card license or Texas state identification cards. Tell you what that's attack on. That's attack on the elderly. Think about it. If you're 76 years old and you don't have a car or nobody's letting you drive, why do you have state ID or driver's license? A lot of people don't, because another thing is that one, there's a cost associated with it, and if you're on a fixed income and you ain't gonna drive, why would you go and do that? Two, if you don't have anybody to take you down there to do it, it's not that important to you. So when you start looking at these little things, these little nuggets they're putting in here, it is to restrict the vote of the black, the Hispanic, the lower income, and the elderly.
So here was my point when we were pre-gaming this before the show. Here's the thing, though. Like you just stated, we have a lot more in common than what we think.
Mm-hmm.
Poor white rules vote the way that we vote. They go to church on Sundays. They get their Baptist ministry vans together, and they get all the elderly and whoever in their vans, and they go and take the people to the polls. So the little pockets of, let me tell you something. The little rural pockets in Texas is the reason why. What's that crazy? Ted Cruz won. Beto had all of, and if you Texas politics, you know who Beto O'Rourke Beto is.
Or something? Yeah.
O'Rourke.
Beto O'Rourke.
First of all, Beto, that's not your real name.
You tell that man what his name is.
But so those little pockets, those red areas, because if you ever look at the Texas map in a political scale, you'll see those, these red pockets, and they deep, like they vote deep, and they vote collectively. So they may be shooting themselves in the foot, because black people will go to the polls, and we'll get Granny and everybody go to the polls, but so do the Clampetts.
Well, speaking of going to the polls and grabbing people to go to the polls, one of the other things in this bill is if you drive more than 2 non-relatives to a poll, then you may have to provide written reason why you did that. So now you want to regulate who in my damn car.
And more, what is it, for the poll workers?
Oh, more power to the poll workers.
Listen, all of this is very unconstitutional. If this bill passes with these particular things in there, but what needs to happen is the federal government needs to sue the state of Texas, and that needs to go to the what's some people in the robes?
Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. It's been a long day. And the Supreme Court needs to set a precedence on this, only because Georgia is going to try to follow. So is Florida and Arizona, maybe. Mm-hmm. But you made a good point. All of this is done in an effort to stop voting fraud in Texas. We didn't have an issue with our voting in Texas.
No, the election was known to be a very secure election.
Very fair, very secure. So why all of a sudden are we doing these restrictive voting laws?
Yeah, when you had no problems,
No problem at all.
And
Texas went red. Now Texas almost turned purple.
Yeah, listen, that 35, 45 I-10 triangle. Listen, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin. Those are where the majority of the population is, and most of those were blue. Well, all those cities were blue. But like you said, when you go through and say we need to make sure to tighten up something that has not been broken, and there is no widespread fraud. There's none of that. But yet we got to hold special sessions to make sure we put the clamps down on this even more, because what they looked and said, it's too easy for them Negroes to vote.
Yeah.
So what we need to do, and understand this, I'm going to say this over and over and over. For all the black people that are watching this, and even to the white people, Hispanic, Asians, and everybody else, understand there is one race and one race only that does not have a law to be able to vote, and that's black people. We have an act. An act has to be revisited, I want to say, every 20 years and continue to be reinstated.
If you can remember a couple of years back,
there was a very crucial threat to that
act.
So when you want to talk about being a citizen in this country, first of all, black people was not actual whole citizens until 1964, 1965. I want to say 1964 was the Voting Rights Act, right? So when you can't vote, you can't be a full citizen. So when people want to tell you, oh, it was so long ago, understand this. Our parents were not full citizens of the United States of America when they was born. So don't tell me how far back it was. Number two, then I only got an act. I didn't get a law. No. So understand, if it's a group of people that you will refuse to put a law in place, well, then I'm a guess that that's the group of people you keep trying to put restrictions on, because you're saying, you know what, we won't even put them in law, so we'll keep doing stuff to make sure we hinder their voting, because we don't even want them to have a law, because we're scared that if they have a law and they get too ingrained into the system, then the more control we lose.
But the beautiful thing about that is we are the true definition of the Phoenix. No matter how many times they try to suppress us, we always come back fighting. But we got to keep fighting, okay?
Yeah,
move on.
We got to keep fighting.
Speaking of fighting.
But before that, remember this. What happened when Biden won?
I was happy.
So Biden is here, and they keep telling you to look here.
While
the whole time they're just sliding things right up under you, and you're happy that your candidate won or that another candidate lost, and they're moving. And understand, if he don't go to jail, he will run again in 2024.
Yeah. So I hope the black lady who's running this whole thing out there in New York, do your job, sister. Because we can't afford another. Anyway, okay. Speaking of, I don't give a damn. Y'all can kiss my black part of my ass. Tennis superstar
Naomi Osaka. Yeah, I knew you was gonna struggle with that, so I got that for you.
Thank you.
Shout out to her, man. She said ever since, and I don't know if you guys follow tennis, but she had a match against Serena that ended in a very controversial way, right? And she said ever since then, because it was her idol, and honestly, if you guys remember, she stood up there and accepted that trophy. But
she was in tears. She was fearful, like. She was shaking. She was visually shaken.
And that was probably one of the not weirdest, but the most awkward moment of somebody who won something she worked her whole life for, to beat your idol. And it was almost like she didn't even want to take it because of the rules and everything else. But she said since that time she has suffered from depression. Well, she got into, I want to say, the French Open, and they asked her she had to speak to the media. And I guess she's going through one of those bouts right now with depression. She said, I don't want to speak to the media.
She said, I don't want to speak to the media because of mental health reasons. And she just could have said anything, but she was, truthful about the reason why she didn't want to speak to the media. Shouldn't we have respected that?
In this day and age?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More so than any. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But if it was Maria Sharapova,
Oh my God.
if it was Anna Kournikova,
oh my God.
I think they would have made
Dignitaries from all over the world would have called and made sure that Becky and Trixie would have been okay.
But when it's Naomi Osaka, who is just killing everybody, and she says, I don't want to speak to the media due to mental health reasons, then there has to be a protection, especially over your top asset, because she's the best, to say, okay, well, what can we do to help accommodate you? We have media partners who help sponsor this thing, which ultimately helps get you your check. Is there something that we can do? Maybe can you only speak to the ones we have the real money tied into, or can you only speak to, can we do them one by one? Would that help you? But just to say, okay, we're going to go through and we're going to find you $15,000, right? So for her, she said, it's probably best I just
You know
pull
what?
out.
I'm good.
And she has the cachet and the cash to say,
Kiss my ass.
kiss my ass. So,
And that's exactly what she did.
I'm out.
So here's my
And
thing.
whoever wins this, y'all still can't beat me.
And here's my thing. Protect your peace at all costs. Shout out to Boss Lady Shan. I don't know what her name is these days. She's made me 2 shirts that says it's the peace of mind for me, or something like that. But
The other one probably says the piece of cake for you too.
we're not gonna do this. You built like a bun cake. Protect your peace, girl. And I can understand that. Sometimes it's not about the money. Sometimes it's not about the title. It's about your peace of mind. And if you're struggling mentally, it doesn't matter what else is going on, because you can't even focus on anything, because you are so overwhelmed with that, that mental anguish.
Yeah.
So shout out to her.
Yeah.
And so why people can show ass.
When you got that money, and you can say, I can come in and go when I want. Come in and go when you want, because there ain't no more flex than to be able to say, I don't need y'all.
That's how when I go into the dollar store and they start acting like that. Let me tell you something. I put all this damn candy back.
Everything, you can have it.
You can
all
have it.
$12 of it. Because my chime card only had $6 on it anyway, so
nope.
I can't pay for all that.
Nope.
So
nope. 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 Nope.
What's wrong with you?
Nope.
That time they
Not today. Not doing that today. Let's get into the show.
All right. This is the last podcast, and I know you guys see the title. It's called Black Boy Burton. There's a lot of different burdens.
Wait a minute, it's called who?
Black Boy Burton. I was smiling. I couldn't get it out. Black Boy Burton, right?
Yep.
And so we wanted to talk about some of these burdens that affect,
young black boys.
Young black boys. Not all, but a lot.
But a good amount. And these burdens shape them into the man that they become, and how they view the world, how they present themselves to the world. Also how they interact with the same sex, with the opposite sex, with authority,
their kids,
with their children, with their family members. So, and it's something that I don't think we really even talk about much.
No, because the thing is that we are usually focused on we put more of the onus, not onus, we put more of the attention on, I think, the girls. And I think
we spend a lot of time trying to protect and we should trying to protect our girls, but
boys need that equal protection.
Yeah, boys, to me, boys probably need a little bit more, because they will one day grow up to be the leaders of their home. So that's a different show, but let's get started. So
into the Black Boy Burden. The first one we want to talk about is
the savior complex.
Yeah. So what that is that's when you see the pressure put upon the young man to retire his mama, right? So many times you can go up and down all these little league football and basketball AAU fields and courts, and you talk to some of the parents, and that boy gonna be the one to get us out the hood, or that boy is gonna be the one that makes it, and he's gonna be the one to take mama off her job. And yes, there's a lot of dads out there too, trying to live their old glory days through their sons and things like that. But I think we hear more about it as, hey, I want to get my mama out this situation. I want to retire her. Now, are you going to do stuff for the people you love the most? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But when you tell a kid at 9, 10, 11, you're going to be the one
to catapult this
to save me.
Yeah.
No, literally to save me. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
So, Jalen Rose, former NBA player, he just did a tribute to his mom because his mom passed a little bit before Mother's Day. And so he even said, my mom said, you're going to be the one to get us out the hood. You're going to be the one to get us out the hood. Now, that worked out for Jalen. But what about the one that it didn't? What type of burden does that put in your head that you couldn't save your mom when...
And that carries you through. And it's not even also that. It's the, when the dad is absent and, the mother now says, this is you're the man of the house. Mm-hmm. Well, he's not the man of the house. The man of the house is non-existent. He's not there. There's a void there. But this little boy should not bear the responsibility or the burden to become the man of the house, because when does he get to be the boy of the house? Because you can't be both. No. So then you get into this spiral of having this young little boy feeling like he has to save everybody in the house. He has to do this, and it's admirable, but it's not fair. It's not fair to the kid, because when you get the chance to cultivate who you are as a young man and become, and build your character and become who you're going to be in the correct order and the correct steps, because, this pressure is put on him, you're the man of the house. And that's why a lot of times you see these young boys that go out and they get these jobs, or they do whatever they have to do because they want to make sure that they're going to take care of who? Mama.
Yeah. I'll take care of mama. And like you said, it's unfair to have that pressure on you. And so now let's look at a famous situation like that. Michael Jackson. When did Michael Jackson get a chance to be a little boy? He didn't.
When he turned 30.
Exactly. And he had all this money, and now all of a sudden he displays these little boy
character or traits
and stuff, right? So now what happens when you go to a situation where you don't have all this money, a lot of times you don't know how to operate, or you look at the decisions people make, you look at the people they're around. And so now I didn't have the boyhood, I was the man. But let's flip it on this side. Okay, so now I was the man of the house. And I'm going to tell you why real men hate when women say that about little boys. First of all, to be the man of the house takes work, right? To give a boy that title and he has not worked for, we know you are setting him up for failure. So now he's 6 and you call him the man of the house. But when he's 26, laying up under a woman and he's not doing anything, and she's the one getting him going to work, and he's calling himself the man of the house, everybody looks at him crazy. But he looks back and say, I never had to work for this title.
Right. But
I've always been the man of the
house. And
this is what I've been doing since I was the man of the house, playing video games.
So now in his head, well, this is what the man in the house is supposed to be. This is what my mama told me. Because if your mama tell you,
it stick with you.
Yeah, that Bobby Boucher syndrome.
True. And listen, we can laugh at it, but we know it's true.
Yeah.
If mama said, it's gonna stick with you.
And then the flip side of that is the guy or the child who does say, okay, I'm the man of the house, I have to make sure that the bills are paid, and they're taking care of mama, they're taking care of granny, they're taking care of sister, younger sister, younger brother, whatever, and they've been taking care of people all of their lives, and they get to points where they're burnt out, they're tired, and it's almost like a resentment is starting to breed because they've had to carry this burden of being a savior of their family for so long. It's almost like, well, and then when it's time for you to really take care of the family that you're supposed to have, you almost feel like you're being used.
Okay, speak to that. So, for those of you who believe in the Bible, it says what? You leave your mother and father and cleave to your wife. How can I go get my wife when my mama my first wife? I'm taking care of her like a dependent.
Yeah.
I can't. So here's the thing about inheritance. Bible also says a good man leaves an inheritance for his kids, right? Inheritance is supposed to be passed down, not back. So what's happening is we getting these kids are having to turn around and pass their money back. They can't then start their own thing because they're taking care of the lineage that's supposed to be passing down to them. So it's so much of a burden sometimes that it's like, okay, this is, and then we didn't guess what we get into. We had a conversation about the mother-in-law and the daughter, right? Well, guess what? You know why it's so much of a fight? Because mama's like, this is my man.
Yeah.
They showed dress them at 7 years old like they the man they want. They was like them.
I hate when I see the women call their sons king. This is my king. How the hell is he your king? He ain't even been a prince yet. Like you who groomed him to be the king?
He might end up the court jester. We don't know what he gonna be.
Lester, the court jester.
So the thing is that you're right. It's a situation to where you're putting more, and anytime you can go through and find out. Anytime you put kids in an adult situation, we see this in Hollywood a lot. The young kids go through, and the reason they go through so many drug problems and things like that is the young kids now become the breadwinner.
Mm-hmm.
Mom and dad sometimes they leave their job. They move to wherever the kid is working at. And so now the kid knows if I quit working, everybody quits eating.
Yeah.
So now if I'm sitting in some production room.
And that is a lot of responsibility.
But wait, though. If I'm sitting in some production room and some producer go to start rubbing on my leg and mess with me, and I know if I say something, my mom, dad, sister, brother, everything gets put on the street, I'm more apt to say nothing because I know of how much of people riding on me, which is a situation kids should not be in. So
now, and I do realize this is a touchy subject, especially when it comes to mothers. I ain't never had a daddy, so I don't know how the daddy whole thing work. But I will say this: our natural instinct is to always take care of our mamas, because that was my natural instinct. My whole plan was I was gonna work for Neiman Marcus, gonna get this big old house built, and I was gonna, my mom was gonna live with me. And so I was telling her this one day, and she was like, I don't want to live with you. I said, well, what? No, we was going to be together forever. And she was like, no, the hell we were not. I'm like, yeah, I'm building this big old house and you're going to have your, she was like, I don't want to live with you. What your husband going to do? What husband? It's going to be me and you forever.
Me and you forever.
So it is, like I said, a touchy subject, because you want to take care of your mom, especially if you've seen. And
you're going to.
Yeah, but
but rescuing is a different story.
Rescuing is a different story, but we have to find the fine line, the balance between it, because sometimes, and mothers and fathers, stop putting that much pressure on your kids, especially these little boys, because they already are little black boys. Their skin, their beautiful skin, is already a weapon in this country. They already have all these other things that they're going to have to contend with. Don't put that on them.
Yeah.
So that's one of the burdens.
The next one, the sexual secret.
The sexual secret.
Wow. So, the black boy's sexual secret is this: a lot of them cannot hold down relationships with their women, because they was raped by a woman when they was a boy, but everybody told them it's okay. That's how it was supposed to be. Good job. You a real man now. Now think about the psychological thing of that. You get exposed to sex with a woman. I didn't say girl, a woman. You get exposed to sex by a woman, and they get a chance to continue their life, because we know on the flip side around, the earth gets turned over when a man messes with a girl, but when a woman messes with a boy, the men have failed the boys by saying, "Hey, get some hair on your chest, boy. That's what you're supposed to be doing."
And here's the thing: it's the betrayal of authority, because usually, it's a woman and a boy, and usually that person. That woman is someone, a family member, a close friend, or something. So there, that betrayal runs very deep
Mm-hmm.
because I'm supposed to trust you. I've as a kid, I'm supposed to be able to trust my mom's friend, my mom's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
sister, my
Yeah.
mom's cousin,
Yeah.
and then
Or your cousin.
or your cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and you can't go and talk about it because if you complain about it, then you're seen as weak or gay or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so now what is your brain telling you about sex? What is your brain telling you about women? And then what is society and your family telling you about how you're supposed to feel about this?
Mm-hmm.
So what your body is feeling and what your brain is feeling and what people are telling you, this tangled, big ball of entanglement.
Entanglement is,
Entanglement is a word.
yeah, real word.
And so then you start to form your who you are sexually as a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you start having these distorted views of sex and these distorted views of women, and most likely you're going to pass that distorted view on to whoever the next, your little cousin, because if it happens to you, it's going to
Yeah.
happen to somebody else.
Yeah.
And so what do you tell that little boy? Oh man, it happened to me too. Look
Yeah,
at me.
look at me.
Yeah.
I'm good. Hey, and then
Yeah.
hit them on the chest and
Yeah.
and tell them to go on about their business. And the thing is that, listen, I've seen little boys at bachelor parties get blowjobs from the strippers and stuff like that. And
What was the
everybody's
rapper
like,
name who
Boosie? Yeah, that said, hey, he got a stripper to mess with his son to, like, I don't know, prove he was a man. Because I'm gonna tell you this is that a lot of times your distorted view, it starts to affect you, and then, like I said, affects you with your current woman because you got things that, one, you don't feel safe to talk about because when you were a little kid, it wasn't safe to talk about. And so now, how do you talk about this to your woman? Maybe if you talk about it to your woman, she could understand and say, okay, well, maybe we can get some help or we could do whatever. But you like, yo, this has to be shut off because I'm not a man if I don't talk about this.
Right.
Think about the difference. For you little girls, is like, you're not we put labels on them if something happens to them, but we also put labels on boys too. So maybe what did you do? For girls, what did you do to provoke it? All this other stuff. Well, for boys, it's like, yo, you're a punk if you say something. You're gay. You're this and that. And the thing is that none of that means that it's going to determine your sexual preference as you get older. The problem is you are introduced to something that it's a difference if you're 15 or 16 and you and some girl decided to do this.
Right.
But somebody told me, hey, a friend of my mom's came on to me.
And that, was she fine? Was she, so here's the thing.
We don't protect our boys as guys.
I was just about to say
girls,
that we don't protect our boys at the level that we attempt to protect our girls. And it is such an unfair thing because the same thing that the little girls are feeling, the same thing the little boys are feeling. Especially when you're innocent. You're an innocent child, and no matter who it is. And just think about it. If a man was touching a little boy, we would move heaven and earth.
Yep.
So, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It is the same. It is a deviant sexual crime that happened to a little boy, but since society has told him you have to act this way, now he has to grow up and then there's a disconnect. There has to be a disconnect somewhere in there. So you wonder why some of the men act the way they do. That they have this trauma, this unhealed trauma from their childhood that started with sex. And sex is such a big part of everybody's lives these days because you can't turn on a cartoon without somebody fucking. Seriously. And it's almost like that's all we think about. It's all we.
You want to tell me what cartoon that was? I missed that one.
Oh, it was on Adult Swim.
Okay, right. But to that point,
You so
this is what we're saying. We're fast to tell little girls that was wrong for somebody to touch her, but we tell boys it's okay.
Right. And Randy Mitchell said, if you have the right woman, it will be easy to talk about it, which is
Absolutely.
true. You have to have,
Yeah.
but you have to establish that trust.
But hold on, Randy, I'm gonna say this: most of the women that you have, they are the right one to talk about. There are some that's gonna be like that are stupid and gonna be like, oh, man up. But most women that you are with, you're gonna be able to say, hey, listen, I had something happen to me and I really ain't even processed it.
Right.
And I had these relationships before I had you, and I'm figuring out why I did so or so. Most women are going to be able to understand that because even if it never happened to them, they've been in the protected group.
Yeah.
And they can understand.
And most women, it's happened to them too. So
Yeah.
they completely understand
Yeah.
exactly what you're feeling at that exact moment, because they are still dealing with that same particular trauma. So
Exactly.
we need to protect our boys.
Yeah.
We really do. We need to do a better job of protecting our boys.
Yeah. So and then to continue on with our Black Boy Burton, and we said this earlier when we was talking about the man of the house.
Yeah, the man of the house syndrome. My bad.
Yeah.
I jumped the gun on that.
Well, it's cool. The thing is that, like we said, when you have that pressure that gets put on you, that's rough. But let's flip it to the side of, we talked about the boys earlier, but let's flip it to the side of the mothers that do that. You have to have a wherewithal with the damage you are doing to your child. We see it. A lot of them, what the joke is, they dress their boys like the man they wish they can get. Right? I mean, you got him looking like a straight up, you know what I'm saying,
Chicago pimp sometimes.
Yeah, really. And so the thing is that you got to understand what you are doing to your boy. But also understand this: when we talk about not protecting the boys, but protecting the girls, ask yourself this question: what are the girls you're protecting going to have to choose from? If you don't choose, you don't protect the people they're going to be the group they're going to be choosing out of.
Right.
So if you protect one
we're
without
doing
the
a detriment. It's a detriment to our girls that we're trying to protect.
Exactly.
And we give them out into society, take them out into society with these people who have not been protected at all.
Yeah.
And they are trying to figure this shit out. And so now what happens is the girls sit back and say, something wrong with all these fools.
Mm-hmm.
And then the boys say, no, y'all just don't understand because y'all don't understand what we go through. And the girls like, well, you don't understand what we go through. And then it's a vicious cycle. I see it every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, again, you cannot be the man of the house without work. I know what it takes to be the man of the house. Right. And anytime I'm around a woman that says that, I usually check her on it. It's like, yo, he's not a man. So he can't be the man of the house.
If he's 9, 10, 11, whatever years old, and he's a man of the house, when does he get to be the child of the house? When does he get to be the little boy of the house? When does he get to be, because it's going to come out. Trust and believe it's going to come out. It's going to manifest itself in some way at some point in time in his life. You don't want him to revert back to the little boy that he should have been when he's 30 and 40, because now he looks like a fool.
And the responsibilities that he is accumulating is too great to then do that.
Right.
And any step that you skip throughout life, you're going to go back and get that step. So the thing is that if you allow a child to be able to matriculate through life at the stages that they're supposed to be at, you don't have to have this revert once they get to a certain stage, right? And then you're trying to figure out, well, what's wrong with him? And now he's back living with you because you didn't allow him to do what he needed to do. And then, like I said, I've seen the dads too. It's like, when you get to the NFL, just make sure you get daddy seats on the 50-yard line. I'm like, first of all, the NFL is icing on the cake. Let's tout him getting a free ride to a college first before you start talking about getting to the NFL. And soon as you get here, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna take care of the family. You're gonna do this. Okay, so now you're starting to ask him to do what you're supposed to do. That's why I said the burden of whether we're talking about the man of the house or the savior complex, the whole burden with that is am I on your level? Because you're still telling me what to do, but you're telling me that I'm the one that's supposed to be able to make it. Right now, Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith is an offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys. He had to pretty much disown his family because he was like, okay, you find a house for $300,000. Mama come back with a house for $800,000. I don't know if you can do math, but that's another $500,000. And he's like, that's not what I said. And they kept badgering him for money and badgering him for money. Why? Because they saw he was 6'6", 6'7", and you're going to be the one to make it. And so that was put on him the whole time. Now he gets to an age where he starts to make the decisions, and he's like, okay, wait a minute.
Right.
I really don't owe you. And I say that because my mom told me something, and I like the fact that you said your mom was like, what are you going to do with your life? You didn't have to rescue.
Gonna live with her.
You didn't have to rescue
Dream crusher.
your mom. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You didn't have to rescue her out of a situation. You were going on with life trying to be the best Shannon. You didn't have to say, I have to be so good that I can now take on a dependent before I even get my own.
Right.
And so when you don't have that freedom, and that goes across the board when we go talk about black kids, period. The freedom to be. You know, we look at our life expectancy age. It ain't just because we getting killed by the cops. It ain't that many of us down by the cops in the totality to shorten our life expectancy age.
No.
It's what we eat. It's the exercise we don't do. It's the doctors we don't get. But it's also the stress and the pressure.
What was that second one? You said the exercise we don't do, and what we eat was the first one. I'm just trying to make sure that
Lifting Twinkies do not count for exercise.
Oh, we know.
So
Like you got some Twinkies hidden.
like a chipmunk with all the food stuff to your jaws. So those are the things we were talking about.
Harambe.
Shamu looking over. The black burden, the black boy burden that we wanted to address and understand. We just came out of Mental Health Month in the month of May, and I think we need to start focusing on mental health. And they always say, if you fix a kid, you don't have to go back and fix an adult.
It is easier. Mm-hmm. It is easier to I guess nip it in the bud as a child than to go in and try to fix a broken man. It's not like a broken man cannot be healed, but it's easier.
Yeah.
And that starts with us. That starts with the parents, the community, the village, and making sure that we really do put an effort in protecting our black boys. I'm not saying that girls aren't important, because the girls are important, but the responsibility that this little boy is going to grow up to have as a black man in America is sometimes, I feel like, it's overwhelming. When you think about it, it's overwhelming. It's such a huge responsibility. Why not start him out with positivity and reassurance
and encouragement
and security? Yeah. Let's do a better job of making sure that we are safe spaces for these little boys, and making sure that they can stay little boys as long as possible. And I say all the time, I love little boys. I do. When I'm driving and I see like a little group of little black boys walking or playing or whatever, I keep my eyes on them until I can't no more, because to me, those are my black boys until I can't see them. They can be strangers. I don't care. I feel like they belong to me, and I want to protect them just for that split second, because I know what's out here. I know that it's not just the police and it's not just the white man. I know that there's evil that's lurking around them everywhere. And it's sad because you want them to be able to experience, life. Let them experience what it feels like to get knocked down, but get back up. Let them experience what it feels like just to be, rambunctious and mischievous. That's why I love little mischievous little boys. Shout out to my sweet little chunk. He's not really mischievous. He's just, I can gush about him all night. Anyway, protect our babies.
And I'm gonna say this, man, we have to make sure we step up and be there for our young boys.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to be like, we don't have to have all this. The daddies wasn't there.
Well, daddies ain't always there on their own volition, and so
watch where you lay your seed. Then
Well, I was just gonna say that, but make sure that you are there for your boys. Number one, and ladies, please step back when a man is talking to a boy, because when you continue to interject, and he knows that now he can play both sides against the middle, then that's exactly what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Step back, allow that man to do what biblically he was charged to do, and is raise the kids. I know we in the society when it's supposed, oh, the mom, no, the fathers were supposed to raise the kids, and the women were supposed to help. Okay, so that doesn't mean that you take this the full on dominant role and I run this and that. No, you guys are very important, and you have a role in that too. But I'm telling you, especially when it comes down to these young men, allow the men to raise these boys, because I promise you that's going to be the number one thing we can do to help the society turn around. All right. So
this has been a good show.
yes, it was a lot of great conversation. Thank you for you guys' comments in the comment section and watching the show and staying with us. We do really appreciate you guys taking time out to watch this show. It is not lost on us the time that you take each and every week on Wednesdays at 8-ish, you know what I'm saying? And we did real good today. I didn't even see Diane say nothing. And if you did, Diane, please forgive me, because I know you come back.
Diane didn't say nothing because we didn't start right on 8. Diane is still not on CPT. Diane is on WP. I would say white PT.
We tried.
We tried.
We were close. We were close.
This is the closest we've ever been.
The closest we ever been. All right. So we good on that. But shout out to D. Bellum Distillery again. If you know the name of the school and the year that we graduated, please type that in, and you will win one of these bottles. The first person that we see do that, these bottles is yours. And we're also going to have a T-shirt giveaway when we come back, because remember, we'll not be here next Wednesday. All right. So we will see you guys next time right here on The Last Podcast. And make sure to follow us on Facebook. It is The Last Podcast 1. And on Instagram, it is _ The Last Podcast. All right. So just a little, because y'all family, y'all like, well, why they won't be on next week? Because Shannon got to eat. So we will see you guys next week right here on The Last Podcast.